different attributes an item has, how Fusion manages an item. I know, okay, this particular item is residing in this particular place, right? But now classify that item. What are item classes? If I want that, I have 2 or 4 phones, I want to give them on the same class, then I need to define a class and show that phone in that way, correct? So let's get started. Some of the terminology which will be used in our today's session you might be knowing, because it's very much similar to the EBS. The PDH concepts have not changed. Not a major change has been done in Fusion, but to say about it, the how to set up an item has definitely changed. More, I would say, a classification has been come from Fusion, and that helps you to clarify or classify an item in a very particular good way, right? With that note, let's first go to the agenda, what we'll study today. So we'll study about UM. You must be knowing it's the unit of measure which we will be using in EBS also. Similar term, basically. What are item classes? What is the importance of having item classes? What is item life cycle phases? So life cycle phases helps you. If you have seen the screen last time, there was a phase, there was a field which says life cycle phase for that. So what selecting a particular life cycle phase helps to identify what are the different steps item will go through. If it's like a product family item, what is a non-stock item dependently in that component, and why this item classification is really important. So I will show that what is creating item classification and how the security policy is being identified. So give you a background how security policy means is that suppose I have a team of 10 people, right? We all have access to an instance, and we all have access to a particular environment where we can create item. So last time I was showing that we can request a particular thing, right? That when I create an item, it should go to a change request that I should approve, then only the item can be used for other purposes. Similarly, what I think is, in an organization, if I want that only few people should be able to create an item, then I have a possibility in while creating an item to define the security that only these people are responsible to create an item. So what it will do, the employees which are created in this Oracle Fusion environment, I'll select them and only ask this particular employees are able to access this particular item in that way. So I'll show you that also. And why security policy is important, because there are n number of items, people are creating multiple templates out of it. It becomes really tough for me and to track them that okay, this XYZ person has created that item. So security policies on a particular item is also really important, right? So just a background of it, but we'll go step by step and study each of the components, so it will be really easy to understand. Okay, a more of like a theoretical session basically, because these are components which we are studying right now. Importance of having and studying this component is really important then, because when you create a sales order, purchase order, you can identify, okay, this item is related to this class. If I have to create an item, I have to create a sales order, then I have to refer this particular item class in that way, right? Let's get started with this. A very important and very easy concept, unit of measure, right? So most of you will be knowing it about it, what we are using and what is the importance of unit of measure. Basically, it's used for tracking, moving and storing and counting the items. Basically, I put an example in front of you. If you see here, I have two boxes, right? One is a box of 8 and one is a box of 4, right? Here, how I defined it is that box might be my unit of measure in that sense, but my primary unit measure will be each, basically, right? So the thing here which is important to understand is that we define an item class. So giving an example, suppose my unit of measure is hours, days and weekly, right? I know this all three components. Let me take an notepad plus and show you there. It will be easy to understand. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so suppose I have 3 unit of measure which I'm currently using in a system, right? Hours, days, week. So I have like suppose I am building an application in which the supplier fills the timesheet. I want the suppliers to fill the timesheet. This is my practical example, a live project which we have developed, basically supplier to, which was not an from Oracle Fusion, but basically a custom application which we had developed. So what these guys were asking is, I was working with the manufacturing industry. So what these guys wanted, that we have suppliers suppliers have workers and we ask the worker to fill the timesheet. Similarly, if you've seen in an organization, we fill a timesheet, right? For the organization, which we, okay, this particular day we did 9 hours work. On this day, we did a particular day, we did this much of work, right? So here, what these guys were doing is, one of the manufacturing industry, when they create a contract agreement with a particular supplier, they want the workers or the supplier workers to fill the timesheet basically. Okay, this much amount of work was doing, because this is basically really important for their PO identification, like how much receipt invoice would be created out that PO, right? So here the supplier, let me make it in this way, supplier fills the timesheet in the custom application. Now, if you see hours, daily, week, all this are basically related to time, correct? My basic fundamental will be time, right? That will be my base unit of measure, right? In that case, if you see hours, days, weekly, right? Days will also have hours, week will also have hours correspondingly, right? So this, all this unit of measure, can't I build a unit of measure class known as time in Fusion? Unit of measure class as time, and create this unit of measure under this item, sorry, under this item class as time, right? So let me write in this way, time is my item class. Just giving an example, there can be n number of classes. Under that, I have asked days, week. Now what does it help me? Actually, it is helping me to classify the unit of measure. Generally companies have 100, 200, 300 types of unit of measure. Creating each of the unit of measure, converting and trying manually, okay, kilometer is this much, kg I have to convert in this way, this is the different. Better to define a class, refer that class basically, okay, this is the class and this is the where I can do it. More importantly, it helps you to go for the interclass conversion also. What do we mean by interclass conversion is, Fusion allows when you create a purchase order to go for interclass conversion, which means that from one class, if you have particular item which is referring hours, you can have it converted on the screen as days, and automatically the calculation will differ, right? Just giving an example right now, so we developed a similar application where the user has a procedure that this hours, days and week, the unit of measure, should fall under item class. I'll take a pause here, guys. A very easy concept, I don't think it should be really hard for this, because we already have studied it and like have it in a practical life as well. So similarly, what is Fusion is doing? Classifying the unit of measure. It is classifying the unit of measure by defining a supreme leader, that is item class. Under that item class, it has multiple unit of measure, right? So I'll take a pause here, guys. If you have any doubt, any queries, please feel free. Any doubt, guys? Sajal, Hari, Bhaskar, any doubt? Please go ahead. No worries, guys.
So we have both interclass and intraclass conversions, right?
Correct. Yes, that is possible. Both are interclass and interclass conversion possible. Even in EBS also it is there.
Yeah.
Hari, are we good from your end?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Kargya, Bhaskar, Hari, Bhaskar, Akshay, any doubt, guys?
We are good.
Okay. I think it would not be that tough in this stage also, because this unit of measure concept remains the same. Actually, you might have seen in EBS also similar that actually. Right. So let me once again go to my screen. Seeing this example, which will be much easier to identify. If you see, let me just that how to define it, what is the base unit of measure. So if you see the base unit of measure will be each here, correct? I can have a box of 8, I can have box of 4, but my unit of measure count for the base unit of measure will always be each, right? Depend only, correct? Apart from this, some terminology which you need to remember is what does unit of measure class, which depends, right? We were classifying it as unit of measure class. Currently we're studying it that, but it's a group of unit of measure with similar characteristics, like such as area, weight or volume. We can define it as a similar characters, right? Base unit of measure, that each base of unit has base like which has used to perform conversion. Basically what happens is it's a representative of other units. So what happens is, like suppose I have hours, I have weekly, I have monthly also in that, right? I'll say hours is my base unit of measure. What base unit of measure is doing is I can do the interclass conversion depend only that will be the base. If it is week, how much hours the completed in the that week that I can convert, right? Correct that way. So our terminology, just have a look into the screen, which will be easy to understand. I'll take a pause here, guys. Just have a this just on this slide, just study it out, will be easy to identify. I'll give an example also. Just I'll hold on this thing, just study each of the component. Okay, a easy concept: what is classes, what is unit of measure, and what is base unit of measure. To give you an example, classes will be our, in this cases we'll define class as time. My unit of measure can be hours, weekly, monthly. Base unit of measure will be hours, the example which was just studying, right? Just have a walk through this slide. We'll take a pause here.
हाँ से ना
Are we clear, guys? I'll take a hold here. Please feel free to ask any question. We'll be happy to answer it. Just consider this example which I've given you, that this hours, weekly, monthly, right? So in that case, when you are defining the class in Fusion, unit of measure class will be time. Unit of measure can be hours, weekly, monthly, and base unit of price measure will be hours actually. Are you clear till this point, guys? I'll just take a fallback from each of you. Akshay, Gargya, Hari, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Varun.
We're fine?
Yeah,
Sajal,
we are.
yeah, perfect. Sajal, any doubt from your end? Please feel free.
no Varun, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead. Okay, now viewers, now unit of measure is done. That is fine. We have created an item. Now next comes the concept of item classes. Now, what is items classes and why it is really important? We had item also, but what is the importance of having item classes? So consider it in this way, right? Let me show it in an example that will be easy to identify. So consider about Reliance Market only, right? I'll say Reliance Digital actually. So this guy's sells AC, correct? Now they have different types of AC, correct? They have, just giving an example, Panasonic, they have LG also, any other brand which I'm remembering right now, or this much only. Panasonic, LG, this type of ACs they have. Under Panasonic, they can have multiple types of AC, right? So let me name it as AC1, AC2, right? AC3. Now Panasonic sells refrigerator also, correct? So just give an example, guys. Forgive me if I'm just giving more of generic example. Refrigerator also. So RG1, RG2, RG3. Correct. Now, if you see, I'm an employee of this Reliance Digital, right? I'm new to the market. I'm really new. I do not know how this work, how these people are working, how they identify their item. Correct. Now, what this guy have done is that in order to identify a particular item, they have suffix a word, right? If you see AC, so I know, okay, AC1 means AC is something which is related to a class, right? AC1 is the item number. AC is related. Okay, this particular item which I'm referring is AC. If I go to Panasonic refrigerator, they have classified it as RG1. In that case, what these guys are doing is for easy identification in the system, they have defined a class out of it which is referring a particular company, which is Panasonic, and RG1 RG2 is nothing but the refrigerator item class basically, right? And correspondingly it has multiple item RG1 RG2 RG3. Similar goes in Fusion, right? Suppose I have n number of items, but easy identification on the screen, if a particular person wants to search, he can just type AC percentage size and search it out, right? Let's go into the Fusion. Log in as HCM. Let me sign out and log in back. HCM bill is not working, I guess. I'll just financial on right now. Let's go into the screen and search it out. So it will be easy to identify. Once again, so where I went, you must be knowing product information management, where you can go and all the tasks related to product information management are available. Let's go to manage item. Here, if you see, starts with right and description. Now, a percentage. Let's search it in this way. So if you see, there's a class defined AS 47002, 47002. These are the different item number, but easy for identification. What the guys have done is AS, correct? So this is like nothing but a class which they have defined, correct? This can be anything actually. Now to be on more comfort, I can show you the class name as well. It's called for they are calling it as tablet components basically. So item class is tablet component, and each of this item class items are starting with AS, right? So what does item class does it helps you to identify a particular item deciding within itself in a very easy way, right? So what I know in the system is when I'm new to this particular system, I know, okay, if the item class is tablet components, the item number will be always starting by AS, right? I'll take a halt here, guys. Is it like, are you able to get my point? Any doubt, please feel free, right? In that way, when you define an item class, it helps you to identify a particular item. You can start with a sequence basically. Okay, AS, you can give anything actually. This depends upon you, right? That AS will help you to identify that this particular item, all the items which are starting with AS are related to item classes tablet components. The same example which we are taking, right? If I want to classify, I'll write item class as air conditioner and all this item will be starting with AC, right? Suppose, right? If to be a more clarification, suppose I have multiple AC like LG AC also, Panasonic AC also. So I'll classify it in this way. So that means ACP is for related to AC, which is related to Panasonic. And to be a more clarification, AC, LG is for our LG brand, and 101 is the item number for it, right? I'll take a halt here, guys. Are you clear till this point? I think this will not be much tough here because this is a easy concept. Just how item class does it, having child class and object relationship. Basically, a class can have multiple objects which is residing in the within cells. So defining a class helps you to identify a particular item in easy way. A more practical example, if you can see here as well, that the item class number name is tablet components. Under that, what I have done is all the item which are related to item class tablet component, I am starting with the item number is AS, right? I'll take a halt here, guys. Just in case you have any doubt, any queries, please feel free. Are we clear till this point, guys?
So, Varun,
Yeah.
if the
Mhm.
tablet is from like different companies,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So it will still start with AS. That is what you mean?
Yeah, no, if it's for different company, you can have multiple classification. If I say it is just in Fusion, the demo environment which I'm showing you right now. So suppose your tablet is from two companies which you are bringing in the Fusion environment. It is from A and B, right? Suppose now under this, what you do is the one which are starting with A, you are starting with it 101, and the one which are starting with BS, you are starting with 101, right? Similar to the example which I was showing in this way. Panasonic one, you are starting with ACP, and the LG one, you are starting with ACLG, right? But the AC, the initial class remains the same, correct? The same
Okay.
goes with here also. So here you
Okay,
can
got
start it with as T. This means tablet, and A will be the particular company which you are bringing it from, basically, right? For easy
Okay, got it.
classification. Yeah. It's just a demo environment right now. Most probably what we can do is like if it's an electronic one, right? What I can write ASE 47002. This how you want the convention to start for you is completely dependent on you, how you want to do it. That is easily possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other doubt, guys? Please feel free, no worries. I want this base concept to be clear because once that is clear, it's really helpful when you're referring the purchase order, sales order. You know, okay, this particular class, the item is coming. Inventory, once like it's just a step forward. It's I'll say nothing has much changed from EBS actually. The things have remained the same. How the configuration is, that has changed, but basically what are what is item class has been same actually. Nothing much differences. Hari, Gargya, Bhaskar, any doubt, guys?
Clear, Varun.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Let's click on this item and see all the other components as well. Just a minute, I'll just okay. So we were on the screen last time also well. Now, if you see, I went to this particular item. Let's research each and every field. study each and every field. What are the different things which are there? What is happening completely, so that